Our mission is in our name, Quick Start. Let's get these companies up and running quickly, and they can start hiring even more Georgians. We are all about developing the talent here in Georgia. If you walk into Hyundai's plant, there are robots running around everywhere so that when they do get out on that floor, they're not scared by the robot that is dragging a car by them.
Welcome to Talent Pipeline Georgia, a podcast brought to you by the Technical College System of Georgia. Each month, we bring business leaders, faculty, and students together to explore how TCSG's 22 colleges, 600-plus programs drive workforce development, fuel economic growth, and create pathways to success. Whether you're building a stronger team, shaping policy for the future, or preparing for the next step in your education, TCSG is your partner in progress. Visit us at tcsg.edu for more details. On this episode, we will uncover how Quick Start consistently delivers a highly skilled workforce, ready to meet the specific needs of modern industry from day one. We'll hear from state leaders about the strategic vision, from the operational experts who make it happen, and from the trainees whose lives and careers have been transformed by this initiative.
Well, welcome. I am here with Scott McMurray, Deputy Commissioner of Georgia Quick Start. Scott, welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
I am glad to be with you here today because we have lots to talk about here. You know, for listeners who may be joining us possibly for the first time, let's break this down. What is Georgia Quick Start?
Georgia Quick Start is a division of the Technical College System of Georgia. What we do is we provide free training services to employees of companies that are either new to Georgia or they are expanding here in Georgia, so that when a manufacturing company decides to add new jobs, Quick Start will often come in and train those workers at no cost to the company. We're also a big part of the business attraction efforts of the state. We will present our services to manufacturing companies that are looking to possibly locate here in Georgia and tell them what we can do for them if they choose to come to our state.
Wow. I mean, it really sounds like a win-win there. You guys kind of run in and do all the training, which is huge. Quick Start has been consistently ranked number one in the workforce training program, of course, in the nation. What makes the model so effective and unique? What makes you different?
Well, I will tell you, may be surprised to learn that Georgia Quick Start has been training Georgians for these manufacturing jobs since before mankind walked on the moon. We have been doing this since 1967.
Wow.
Which has given us a long track record of proven success, but it has also allowed us to really develop and evolve over time to meet all the different emerging trends in the different industries. For example, at one point, we used to train a lot of folks for call centers, but of course, the call center industry all moved overseas, and so we moved on to the next big industries. And of course, these days, we're doing an awful lot in the automotive industry with electric vehicles, as well as the what's known as the clean tech industry, clean energy industry, for example, solar panels, solar cells, recycling projects, things of that nature. And so as a 100% state-funded agency, we have a lot of flexibility in working with all the various clients that we have across all of Georgia. And so really what makes us so effective and unique is our ability to customize our training to the needs of the company and also to be able to provide it at no cost to the company, reinvest those dollars right back into our taxpayers.
Wow, that is incredible. And just to kind of recap here, of course, Quick Start has been ranked the number one workforce training program in the nation. You guys have been doing this, as you said, since back in 1967. That's when you guys got started. But you guys obviously have a proven success. Like you said, you're taking taxpayer money and then you're putting it right back there in the economy. So what does that partnership process look like from when a company initially reaches out to you to getting started with the training?
So when they first reach out to us, we try to do a little research, find out, exactly what the company does, what kind of skills their employees, their operators, their line workers will need. And so that really begins the process. We partner with all of our clients. We'll often perform what we call a needs analysis. We will send a team to their factory in another state or sometimes in another country to really learn about their production processes. We have a media team as well who will take photography and also videography of their production processes. And then we work directly with that company's subject matter experts to, again, learn how they make their products, but then also to develop the training program in conjunction with the company so that QuickStart's not doing this 100% all on our own. Again, we customize all of our programs to each individual client that we have.
I mean, essentially, yeah, it's a partnership, it's a relationship. And this needs analysis that you just mentioned here, that gives you the ability to be fast and, of course, customized. You're capturing literally every single detail from video to pictures to conversations, making sure that you are creating a tailored training program. That right there is huge. There's no blanket, one size fits all. Everything is customized here with Quick Start. Just a few moments ago, you mentioned that you guys are getting in the automotive space here, specifically with Hyundai Mobility Training Center. Why was this facility so important for Quick Start to build?
So initially, when the state of Georgia was recruiting Hyundai to come to our state, this is a competition amongst many of our neighboring states for these large investment projects. And so Quick Start made a presentation to show Hyundai that we could do the same for them for their training that we did for Kia. Again, Kia started way back in 2008. We have a Kia Georgia training center that has been very, very successful there. And we showed Hyundai in our presentation that we could do the same for them. And so the state offering through Quick Start to build a purpose-built, dedicated training center for their project was a big factor in them deciding to come to Georgia and invest, again, billions and billions of dollars and hire thousands and thousands of Georgians.
And, similar to the success with Kia, which is huge as you're kind of crossing it over here with Hyundai, how does this center take the Quick Start model to the next level?
So usually we will train employees for companies either at the company's own factory. Sometimes we will use space at one of the local technical colleges, one of our sister agencies here. And sometimes we will do it at one of our training centers. The ability, though, to work with the company to come up with truly purpose-built, dedicated training spaces that are customized to their actual processes really gives us a leg up in being able to take someone who has not worked in a manufacturing environment before and very quickly, relatively quickly, in a 2 to 3 week period, be able to run them through our training spaces and our training programs to give them the skills that they need to feel confident that they can step out onto the actual factory floor and from day one begin to produce product for that company.
You've somewhat covered this just in that statement you just made, but I know for those listening, they're thinking, well, wait a minute, I want to be a trainee in this program. I want to know, what does that day one look like?
One of the things about Quick Start is we train people who have already been hired by the company. The technical colleges are educating students and training students to acquire skills that allow them to go out and then find a job. And of course, the technical colleges do a fantastic job of finding jobs for their graduates in the areas of study that they've graduated in. For Quick Start, the company will hire someone, and then that person will run through our training program. So for a brand new Hyundai employee, they call their trainees, they call them MetaPros. And so day one for them would be an orientation period where they would learn more about the company, they would get their new uniform, and then we would take them from the orientation phase, which a lot of times will be run by Hyundai personnel, talking about Hyundai's culture, their vision, mission, things of that nature. And then we will begin basically with an EV 101 course so that every single new MetaPro understands what is an electric vehicle, how does it differ from an ICE vehicle, an internal combustion engine vehicle, and then from there go on usually right into safety. Safety is a huge concern, of course, for all of our clients. And so working around a very, very high voltage battery when you're working with electric vehicles, safety is extremely important because, as you know, these batteries can be very volatile and dangerous if not handled in the right way. And so from there, they would then acquire skills such as torque wrenches, kind of your basic assembly type of skills. And then from there, we would also teach courses such as teamwork, how to work well together in a team. We also offer courses on leadership, organizational development. So it's not just the hands-on portion, although that really is our bread and butter, the customized hands-on training that we're able to provide, but it really is a full spectrum of training so that giving those new trainees the same experience across the board, these folks really come together as a team and learn and grow together.
Absolutely. I mean, and literally education on day one, starting from the foundation all the way up from obviously the education to learning the tools to the teamwork and leadership opportunities, which is huge. And as you talked about here, Hyundai is beginning the hybrid and EV production process. They're getting into that. And EV manufacturing requires basically new skills and obviously new technologies. How did Quickstart design a curriculum to meet their needs?
So a lot of it has to do with working directly with the subject matter experts at the company, at Hyundai. Quick Start gets better and better at training the more we can work with the company and learn from them what their needs are. And so for this Hyundai plant, right now they are producing electric vehicles, but as you said, they'll soon be producing hybrid vehicles. And so we have a lot of experience with hybrid vehicles at the Kia plant. Kia was the first to produce a hybrid vehicle as well as an EV here in the state of Georgia. And so we take kind of that experience, although not the training program itself. Again, it's very, very separate. All of our projects, because of proprietary information, we keep all of our project teams separate. But learning from that experience, we were able to put together a great training program for the Hyundai folks as well.
That's fantastic. I know a lot of people listening right now might be thinking, all right, what about these skills and the competencies for the jobs at the Hyundai MetaPlant? What are the few of the most in-demand skills?
So really, a lot of it is the ability to learn and to be open to learning and having some, of course, if you're an operator at the operator level, having some manual dexterity. We really specialize, Quickstart really specializes in taking someone who's never even maybe torqued a wrench before, torqued down a nut, to teach them in a relatively quick amount of time how to do that. And so if you're looking for an entry-level position with one of these manufacturing companies, they have a Quickstart training program. We feel that we can make you very, very competent and confident in going into that factory environment, being able to perform your job. And a lot of these new jobs that are coming to Georgia, companies that have not been here in the state before, they're looking for really, really good people. And if you get a position kind of on the ground floor with these companies, they are growing and they're growing very rapidly. You can easily turn what you consider a job into a real career opportunity. These particularly international companies, at first, they do have a lot of expats, expatriates coming in and helping them from the leadership level, but very, very quickly, they look to localize their workforce as soon as possible. So someone who gets a job as an entry-level kind of operator can soon become a team leader, from there become supervisor, then manager. We've seen folks grow very, very quickly, grow up the ladder at these companies. And so that's something that also we're very, very proud of doing. The training program allows folks to have true career opportunities with these companies.
I mean, that is huge. I mean, starting on the bottom floor, you have every opportunity to work your way up that ladder. You've talked about this customized curriculum and the training process, the relationship that you build with these companies to give them the training that they absolutely need to have. I'm wondering, how adaptable is the training center to new workforce demands? Because we know things are changing daily.
Yes, and so we realized that when we were designing the training center. So we designed a lot of flexibility into each of the training spaces that we have. One area of the training center is called the high bay area. It has a very, very high ceiling and has a epoxy or polished concrete floor. In that training space, we've actually mimicked the production line that Hyundai has inside of their factory. kind of a mini production line. And so the folks will actually be trained on their skills on a static station where nothing is moving. And then they will graduate to a line that is actually moving, and they are moving along with it on a conveyor, on a man rider, as some people call it. So they are actually getting the experience of moving with the product, trying to perform a task on a tack time. A lot of times they have 20 seconds or 30 seconds to perform that specific task before the next car or chassis comes down the line. And so when I talked about the partnership with Hyundai, for example, when we were working with them to design the facility and the training, they told us that a lot of their folks, when they first stepped up on the line, they would have issues with vertigo. They were not used to moving and performing a task while it seemed the world around them was also moving. And so what we did was we learned from that feedback and designed a training system that would give folks that experience so that they could get used to it and feel confident on that system. So when they transition to the factory, they would not have those same issues.
Wow, you guys are really dotting all the I's, crossing the T's, and really making sure these folks are prepared. The Hyundai MetaPlant is the largest economic development project in Georgia's history. That right there says a lot. So how would you describe Quick Start's partnership with Hyundai?
It's an extremely critical partnership. Again, this factory, this MetaPlant, as they call it, will be here for many, many years, and we'll see all kinds of innovations going forward. Already, it is the foremost state-of-the-art automotive assembly plant in the entire world. If you walk into various automotive assembly factories in the United States, you would not even recognize it. There are robots running around everywhere. There are large open spaces. They do not have the same production processes in many ways that your typical automotive assembly plant has. And so it's very intimidating when you first step out onto that floor. And so our part of the project is to give those new trainees, those new MetaPros, that experience and those skills so that when they do get out on that floor, they're not scared by the robot that is dragging a car by them. They're not scared when Spot, the robot dog, comes next to them. So the robot dog's taking a picture of a certain part for quality control purposes and things of that nature. So we actually went ahead and we bought ourselves one of the Boston Dynamics robot dogs for the training center. And so the trainees will also have in our training space a robot dog that will be walking around. The trainees will not be really working with the robot, but they will be able to get used to having Spot come by and not freak out when they see this industrial robot come walking by to take a picture of what they're doing or something like that. So we really have put ourselves in the shoes of a trainee. What is it like to walk into an environment like that? How can we help to make that transition go smoothly for them? And of course, the better that the trainees are prepared when they get out onto the Hyundai factory floor, the more successful they will be, the more successful the company will be. They will be able to advance in their job, in their career, but also the company as a whole will make more money. And the idea is that they will add yet another production line, will be able to hire more Georgians, and that's kind of the economic development model for our state.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, you've touched on this, everything from doing the circulation training of getting ready to be moving, and then you got the robots in there, really adjusting to your surroundings before you get there for the real deal. So from a training perspective, it sounds like you guys literally account for anything in every element you could possibly imagine. But what does it take to prepare a workforce for a facility that's going to employ literally thousands of Georgians?
It really takes, kind of the looking at the whole person. We're not just doing classroom training. We're not just training theory. And we're also not just training the hands-on portion of what the job is. We want people to come into the training center to get to know Hyundai and, again, their culture, their mission, their vision, and be able to take the classes that we have for organizational development, for leadership, and then also be able to learn how to assemble these state-of-the-art vehicles. And so giving these trainees kind of a full spectrum approach to what their job will be, to give them all of that confidence that they'll have walking over to the factory is something, again, that we really focus on to feel like we have done our part in helping both the individual Georgian, but also our client, Hyundai Motors.
Absolutely. I mean, you're literally training these folks from day one, right? I mean, think of it almost like boot camp before you get there. I mean, it definitely sounds like you guys have accounted for everything. And I know you just mentioned it's not just classroom theory, right? You guys are hands on, but Quick Start does coordinate with local technical colleges for this facility. What about that?
Yes, as a division of the technical college system, we do partner with the local technical colleges in the areas where our manufacturing clients are located as well. So this project is so large, it really has that regional impact, not just on a county-wide side, but actually the entire coastal Georgia community is impacted by this project. And so there are 4 different technical colleges that are helping to provide a pipeline of talent, of graduating students coming out of their schools to be able to be hired by Hyundai. And so not only are they feeding a pipeline of talent to the company, also we at Quick Start are working with them when we have issues with training space. A lot of times we will go ahead and borrow some space at the local technical college to do training, particularly on the classroom side. And because this is such a large project, this is, again, companies, not only Hyundai itself, but their affiliates and their suppliers. We're talking tens of thousands of jobs. All of these people need to be trained. And so for us at Quick Start, we had a real capacity issue for being able to get that many people through the training that we provide in a timely manner. Again, not only for Hyundai, but for all the suppliers. And so we worked with our technical college partners in order to get some training space and also to collaborate with them on the training programs themselves.
Wow. And again, incredible. And something to be extremely proud of is this training center is a major component of Governor Kemp's Top State for Talent initiative. How does Quick Start support that vision? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I mean, we are all about developing the talent here in Georgia. The state is known as the top state for business in the United States. Governor Kemp has a vision to also be known as the top state for talent. And so not only the talent that comes from our 4-year universities, our graduate schools and all of that, but also talent at the operator level, being able to produce very, very high quality product for our clients across the state. So we are a real critical part of that effort.
And as you mentioned here, Georgia being the top state for business and talent, I mean, that right there is massive. So how do you see Quick Start's role evolving as more advanced manufacturing and EV companies, they start coming to Georgia? Everyone wants to work with Quick Start. How does that work?
Yes, and so the Department of Economic Development is the state agency that's really in charge of recruiting these companies to come to Georgia. So they bring us in on these projects, on these pitches, on these presentations that we make. And so really, Quick Start often is kind of at the tip of the spear for these projects coming in. And so as an example, when we first were recruiting these EV battery manufacturers, this is an industry that had not even existed 10 years ago. And so our experts at Quick Start had to learn very, very quickly what the industry is all about, what the production processes are like. And again, we do that in conjunction with our clients, with our partners. And so on one of these early battery projects, we were talking to them and we said, well, so you're going to be making lithium ion batteries here? And they said, yes. Well, actually, by the time the factory is built, that'll be 2 years from now. It may not be lithium ion, it may be sodium, it may be a different kind of technology for the batteries themselves. All of these activities that we're doing are really cutting edge. And it's very, very exciting to be at the forefront of what seems to be a manufacturing kind of revolution that's going on here in the state when it comes to the clean energy projects and the EV industry as well. And so we have to get on our horse, basically, and hurry up and catch up to all of these companies that are making these generational investments in order to, again, our mission is in our name, Quick Start. Let's get these companies up and running quickly. They can produce their product, they can start making a profit, and they can start hiring even more Georgians.
I love it. Incredible. Congratulations to you and everybody at Quick Start and your partnership with Hyundai. It's going to be amazing. Scott McMurray, Deputy Commissioner of Georgia Quick Start, I appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much, Jessica.
Welcome, everyone. I am here with Brent Stubbs, Chief Administrative Officer of Hyundai Motor Group MetaPlant America. Say that 5 times fast. Brent, welcome. How you doing, man?
Doing great, and so glad to be with you today.
Yes, very excited to talk to you. We have lots to get into. You know, Hyundai has made the largest economic development investment in Georgia's history. Big news right there. What drove the decision to build here in Bryan County? Tell me all about it.
You know, it's the classic location. And this was true for this type of real estate decision. A lot of options, but for Hyundai, it really came down to a number of things related to the property. You had it was ready to build, and that was because of the leadership of the Joint Development Authority and the counties that came together to ultimately make this property ready to go. So we were able in 2 years to go from groundbreaking to building cars. And the only thing that made that possible was that the property itself was ready. Second, I mean, world-class port, Georgia Ports Authority, you know, one of the most technologically advanced ports in North America, speed, reliability. So for us, from a logistics standpoint, we had the right partner there. And then third, you know, when you're looking at a location, you want to think about workforce. And so, you know, this site was very attractive for the surrounding ecosystem, and in particular, it's not just because I'm talking here with you, the technical college system of Georgia. And with that, you have WorkSource Georgia, Georgia Quick Start, all of those. This really amazing partnership in the state that really helped us feel confident to know that we would have the workforce we need. You know, and then a great benefit is the beauty of the area. So you're trying to attract some people to move to the area. You're looking at an environment that says, "Hey, how can we deliver?" If you've been here to the MetaPlant, you realize this is not just your ordinary plant. How can we deliver on the vision of the MetaPlant? And so the part of this plant is human-centered beauty, aesthetics, nature, technology, and humanity working in harmony. And so you have rivers and oceans and history and beauty and food and, you know, all of these things that really add value to what we're doing. So as we've launched new models, we already have, you know, pictures of those cars going globally, taken right here in Savannah, something unique. It may not be true to every place a car plant exists. So
Absolutely. You just mentioned that you've been launching some new models. Tell me more about the types of vehicles that are being produced out of the MetaPlant, and how many do you think you produce annually?
Jessica, it's a question a lot of people want to know, that second question, but it's really top secret. And if you tell people how many cars you build,
Oh,
it
no.
kind of signals to the competitor, you know, how many cars you're going to have in the lot. And I mean, so we don't really announce that. But what I can tell you is that this plant can build 300,000 cars a year. But at our grand opening, we announced expansion to the site. And that expansion gets us to nearly 500,000, if not more than 500,000 cars a year at this facility. So we are on a very aggressive timeline to get us to a place where we can build 500,000 cars a year. Right now, we're building 2 cars, the World Car of the Year, World Electric Car of the Year, Ioniq 5. An awesome crossover that is fun, stylish, and is very popular. And the second car, which we launched, we did a true first ever global launch right here in March, is the Ioniq 9, a game changer, 3-row SUV in the segment, a real affordable electric. And these have, you know, first in class range, fast charging. All of our electric cars are tied into NACS, so you can charge almost anywhere, including the whole Tesla charging network. So really awesome. But we also here can build hybrids, and we have the ability to build Kias and Genesis. So we're Hyundai Motor Group MetaPlant America, not just Hyundai Motor Group. And so that gives us the power of really all 3 brands. And then in terms of electrification, both fully electric but also hybrid. So really exciting. opportunities here at the MetaPlant.
Wow, you guys are kind of doing it all. I like that the crossover, all the brands working together. I mean, that's incredible there. A few moments ago, you talked about how you guys were up and going 2 years from the foundation to the building, the training center there. What role does the Hyundai Mobility Training Center play in ensuring that the MetaPlant is successful from day one?
For us, it's where you start and it's where you grow. And so for every employee, and for us, whether you're the CEO or you're a new team member who just graduated from high school, we call every employee a Meta Pro. And that word meta really means to transcend or go beyond, and pro obviously is professional. So we want every person that works, and our expectation is that every person that works at HMGMA, at the MetaPlant, is a Meta Pro. And so that starts at the Hyundai Mobility Training Center of Georgia. For us, that word mobility has two meanings, and we were really adamant that that word be in the naming of the facility, because obviously we as a company, we are a smart mobility solutions provider at HMGMA. We deliver the future of mobility through world-class manufacturing. But the other part of that mobility is upward mobility. And we know that training and learning is ultimately how you grow, and how you grow with us, and how we grow together. So for every MetaPro to start at the training center, it sets them on a foundation of success, gives them the skills and knowledge, but also helps them understand our culture and who we are and where we're going. But as important is them going to the Hyundai Mobility Training Center of Georgia and growing. Continuous learning, continuous growth that helps them on their career path. I like to say we're not offering economic opportunity at the MetaPlant, we're offering economic mobility. And it's really what people want. People don't want to come and just get a job, they want a career, and they want opportunities to learn, to grow, to develop, and to promote. And that's what we're trying to create here. And the Hyundai Mobility Training Center of Georgia is really the centerpiece of that.
I love that you talk about that opportunity to grow. I find that a lot of people today in the workforce, really across the board, they find themselves hitting this glass ceiling. And so I love that you guys are kind of opening the door of saying, look, you can go as high as you want if you're educated, if you're dedicated, and you are working on growing yourself. So for those interested that are saying, man, I want to check this thing out. I want to know if I have the skills, if I have the competencies, to be within this workforce at the MetaPlant. What kind of skills are you looking for?
So Jessica, before I answer that, I'd like to kind of make a comment on something you just said there, because it really means a lot. I think not only do people want opportunity and that ceiling that they feel like they're hitting, glass or otherwise, for many companies, they'll tell you you can move up, but it may require working full time and then going to school at night. But something that we're really proud of is, while we promote higher education and we think the world of it, we've got amazing partnerships with Georgia Tech, with Georgia Southern, with Savannah State, with the University of Georgia. We're working with the whole university system and all the technical colleges. We really, really value what you learn on the job. In fact, enough to allow you to continue to promote really with no hindrance. We value what you learn on the job. And so I think that's really important, that we want people to know that at HMGMA, at the MetaPlant, this is a place you can come and learn on the job. You can learn at the training center. And that's going to be enough to get you to where you want to go career-wise. There's not going to be some glass ceiling of, if you only go on the side over here and do something extra, that's the only way forward. We certainly encourage higher education, and we want people to do that, but we're going to provide those learning opportunities that is going to create that upward mobility they're looking for. In terms of the competencies you were asking about, the skills, it really is, nothing's changed. It's only accelerated. It's the same thing companies have been asking for a very long time, and which is just being teachable and coachable, being willing to learn. I mean, it really gets to the heart of this idea of the training center, which I have a picture behind me of, is that we want you to come here, and if you're open and teachable and coachable, you've got the skills you need to grow. Being on time is important for us. We're a just-in-time manufacturing process. We're high velocity. That means that every minute counts. So being a minute late matters. And communication skills matter. A lot of people think in a manufacturing setting, okay, just show up and do my thing and go home. But we ultimately can improve if people aren't communicating. And the closer you are to the problem, see that team member who's putting a bolt on a car, they are the best candidate for really helping us understand solutions that exist in the plant that otherwise we wouldn't see. So really understanding how someone can be, contribute every day using communication skills and understanding how to, be teachable and coachable. Those are the most essential.
The sky's the limit there. If you're teachable and coachable, you're on time, you have those communication skills that Brent's talking about here. Let's talk about Hyundai and how they view this training model compared to other facilities global. What kind of makes you guys stand out?
The training model for us and how this compares globally. I mean, obviously you've got the facility itself and the technology, and I think that's what's unique both in the plant and then what we've implemented here at the training center is it's a facility that there's really nothing else like it, both in terms of its scale and size and scope, but also the technology and automation that we've integrated. It's really unique. So it requires a high level of technical skill to support the level of automation, robotics, and then from a facility side, the kind of awe and expanse of it all, but the details and intentionality in the training center. So for us, we're really proud of how this training center came together because as impressive as the facilities and technology are, we're really leading as a company with people, Jessica. I mean, people are the most important. So we wanted a training center that made people feel special, made people feel important. And the state of Georgia and the Georgia Quick Start and SSOE and CHOTE, everybody came together and delivered for us a facility that really communicates not only our brand identity, but our brand culture and who we are as a company so that people come to a place and they go, wow, this company really cares about me. It really cares about my learning. Just feeling welcome, feeling taken care of. We're right now doing something called enrichment training, which is unique. Things like financial literacy, health, stretching, breathing techniques, stress management. We're doing this for every MetaPro because, again, people are human beings and they deserve this kind of holistic approach. And so this is something who we are as a company, and to be able to do it in a beautiful training center is special for us and important. And so as a company, we're really thankful for what the state has done to really join forces with us to deliver on what we aspire to be and who we are.
That's really important what you just mentioned here about, it's about the people. So it's almost like you're saying, hey, we're in the people business. We're not in the manufacturing business, and offering these different classes. I mean, the financial literacy, that is huge across the board. Too many people lack that education. I love the fact that you're saying, hey, if you're stressed out and overwhelmed, let's talk about these breathing techniques. It really gets down to, yes, you're people. You're not just robots sitting on a conveyor belt making it happen. So you're in the people business, the education business, giving people the opportunity there to be their best and grow their best. That is huge. That's amazing. A lot of companies don't do that. From Hyundai's perspective, how essential is Quick Start to building a reliable and, of course, job-ready workforce?
Well, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna make a comment on something you just said, and then I'd love to go back. I'll go to your question if that's okay, because you talked about robots and people aren't robots. You're exactly right. And in fact, though, we've got more robots than any other car manufacturing facility in the US. So why so much robotics, Brent, if you say people are the most important? But the reality is we've implemented the robots to improve the work life of our people. The robots ultimately create an environment that is more ergonomic. It allows the work that often causes strain and injury to people. We think robots can do that. And also, one of the things you notice in our facility is a lack of forklift operators and certain, we have some tuggers, but not a lot of human movement where you can have those collisions. It's robots. So we have a safer environment. So reducing injuries, ergonomics, and increased safety for people is what robots are all about. Technology and people working in harmony. This is what our company is about. And so for us, Quick Start is essential for building that reliable workforce because at the end of the day, we are focused on our mission and our vision, which is really leading the future of mobility, delivering products that customers want, innovating, world-class manufacturing, and to be able to rely on Quick Start and their decades of experience in customized training has allowed us to focus on building cars, but we have a team that works with them every day. So it's really a hand in glove relationship where we're working step by step together, heartbeat to heartbeat, hand in hand, however you want to image it, to build the workforce so that when someone comes into the training center, for example, we have an EV safety lab with a battery technology. We have, AGV awareness where we have AGVs and those are inside a manufacturing space. We have certain unique technology inside the training center behind me that will help people work hard in, which is basically, hey, you've never done this before. Let's scaffold you up to where you get ready so that when you actually go do the job, it isn't a shock, right? So if anybody's played a sport, that first week in practice, you go home, you're really hurting. That's called work hardening. And then after a while, you get used to it and you're like, wow, 3-4 weeks into season, you're like, I'm not even sore anymore after a practice. What's happened? Your body has acclimated to that. So we are really implemented the same kind of things here. And this partnership with Quick Start, their ability and willingness to be flexible, to grow, to change, to adapt to where we're going has been phenomenal and ultimately allows us to know that the workforce we need, no matter where we hire them from, no matter their background, if they've never built a car a day in their life, if they've never built anything, no problem. I'll give you one example, Jessica, a story that really stands out to me. We've got a young lady in our weld shop who's just done incredibly well. Her experience before manufacturing was nothing inside of industrial. In fact, she's a gamer. Ultimately for us in like our weld shop, we have a lot of robots. They're using pendants, really, which is almost like a gaming scenario, and they're interacting with those robots. So for her, with the right training, the training we've been able to deliver with our partnership with Quick Start, she's been transformed and now has this opportunity to have a great career. And she was our Meta Pro of the month, the first Meta Pro of the month in welding. She's been to Korea now. She's experiencing an amazing career. So I love that story. I tell it often just because to me it represents really the Meta Pro, the meta mindset, the MetaPlant, everything that we're doing. We're really transcending those kind of old categories of manufacturing.
You've mentioned a few times here your relationship with the local technical colleges like, Savannah Tech, Ogeechee Tech, Coastal Pines Tech, and even Southeastern Tech to build long-term talent pipelines. Tell me more about that relationship.
3 years ago, we began a conversation and quickly stood up a new technical certificate program at those 4 technical colleges. It's called the Electric Vehicle Professional. In that program, we're not teaching people how to build cars. We are teaching them how to become car enthusiasts, how to be safe, and how to understand electric cars. We think that if somebody does that, they're a perfect fit to work at our facility. And so in only 8 credit hours, I think it's about 160 contact hours, we have made that the preferred pathway to come work here as a production team member at the MetaPlant. And if you're hired, you get hired at the pay rate as if you were here for 6 months already. Some other things that we're doing is an apprenticeship. We just recently announced we have 7 young people right out of high school, more or less, that are in the facility being mentored. After a year and a half, or I should say they will, after a year and a half, have a guaranteed job opportunity as a maintenance technician making what is the equivalent of over $70,000 a year without overtime. So with overtime, you can do the math. So these are going to be people with no debt. They're going to have a diploma from Savannah Technical College in industrial maintenance, robotics automation, and they're going to have a job, full benefits from day one. They have it right now, but once they get done with the program with that kind of pay. So I remember when I was 21, I had debt and I did not have that kind of pay. And so these are young people with no debt, that are making, what is mid-career for many people pay, with skill sets that are transferable, scalable, and highly portable, usable for them for the rest of their life. So we're going to continue to expand on that. And finally, we're working with Savannah Tech as well, and they happen to have service coverage area for Bryan County where we are. So we love all the technical colleges, but Savannah Tech is is the college for our service area here in Bryan County. We have they have a military robotics and automation transition program. So helping transitioning military go through a robotics and automation certification program so that then we can hire them directly in those same roles. As you can imagine, that to me is one of the biggest opportunities for young people, anyone today. If I could encourage anyone to go into a field that's more accessible than they think, it would be industrial maintenance, robotics, and automation. On the front, as I described it, maybe some people are thinking to themselves, "That's not for me." I would take a second look. I mean, the ability to troubleshoot, solve problems. You're going to get all that education on the job. It's a lot of hands-on. It's not sweeping floors. It's all of that equipment, all of the robotics. If there's an issue, someone's got to fix it. But also, who's doing the preventative maintenance? Who's making sure that it doesn't break down? That's that team. So really important. It's a workforce that we're looking to grow, and we're doing it with our partnership with the technical college system.
This is hands-on, literally creating your own career, not just a job. And, I know Hyundai expands with everything you're doing, this EV production here. How do you see this partnership growing in the coming years?
So ultimately, I think it's about scaling and continuous improvement. I mean, we're going to scale. We've talked about it. We've talked about the announcement of the additional investment, $2.7 billion, and the expanded capacity from 300,000 to 500,000 cars a year. That's cars that are going to be all over North America, in every state, in every Hyundai car lot built right here in Southeast Georgia. It's beautiful. But I think continuous improvement is another part of that. Something really unique about our plant is it was built with a lot of flexibility. It was built with a lot of technology. And you think about, your smartphone, you think about your computer and the iterations it can go through, the upgrades that are kind of over the air, that aren't, it isn't getting a new phone. It's literally just receiving a software update. So because of the flexibility here, we have the ability with minimal physical investment to really continue to optimize the plant. And so we are really at version 1.0 of what feels like version 10.0 for someone who's never seen a plant like us. But I think the training center is like that. And I think that's where we're going as a company ultimately, as we aspire to be a real global leader in manufacturing innovation, is to take the platform where we are today and continue to iterate and improve on it. And we do that through ideas. We do that through technology, through AI, through the amount of data that we collect and the decisions and the innovations that we can make on that data. And then we do it through our partnerships, through our partnership with Quick Start, through our partnerships with Georgia Southern and Georgia Tech and the entire university system. We do that through listening to the best ideas and acting on those ideas. And we do that through really creating that culture of engagement where no matter who you are in the business, where you are in the MetaPlant, you realize that showing up and doing your best work really can make a difference, create change and create improvement. For example, Jessica, we created a program called the Change Agent. And across every department, we have people that are learning our Hyundai way and then dreaming up their ideas to make this place better. Because we want to create a culture where people can make a difference. And we know that continuous improvement starts with a mindset, and everybody has to be at the table with that mindset. So I think we're going to scale, and I think as a shock to many, this place and will only get better.
Man, I'm telling you what, I mean, I feel like I'm about to come down and sign up and become an employee.
Let's do it, Jessica. We've got an application out there. We're ready for you.
Right.
Become a MetaPro. No, you're doing a great job. This has been a lot of fun. And I know we think this kind of work that you're doing and with the technical college system is so critical to, everybody has their role in the state. And we love what you guys are doing to grow the workforce. We're just excited to take the responsibility to be a world-class employer with a world-class workforce partner like you guys.
Brent, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time, and congratulations on all the success. Welcome. I am joined with Simone, one of the amazing trainees. And Simone, man, talk to me about all this opportunity that you've had to train for a job at the Hyundai MetaPlant. How's it been going?
So far, so good. Very different from the line of work that I came from, but so far, so good.
So let's talk about, you mentioned the line of work that you came from. What made you decide to pursue this path? I mean, were you always interested in manufacturing or EV technology? Did you hear it from a friend? What drew you to this?
I always was a fan of technology, but I did hear, about Hyundai prior from a friend. My line of work came from government contracting, so I worked overseas. So I was just trying to find something that was reliable, stable on the state side. So that's what made me led me to Hyundai.
Wow, I love that. And geez, coming from overseas, that's amazing. And then
Yes,
having something reliable and stable, those are two key words I think everyone's looking for these days, especially when it comes to an opportunity having an amazing career with a company like Hyundai at the MetaPlant there. Before starting training, what did you think it was going to be like? What did you picture it, and did it meet your expectations?
all I heard was you're gonna be training with robots. So it's like in my mind I said like robots, like what are because you see everything, you look online, you're like, I wonder are robots walking around? You didn't never had like the full detail
Hmm.
until you came to I started the quick start program. And then I said, oh, okay, now you can see what's really going on.
What was the first week like? I mean, what stood out to you most? Was it because you were, living the life of the Jetsons and you had robots around you? What was it?
The first step was it was very knowledgeable because they gave us like the back history of how they incorporate the robots into the everyday work life. Now, when you get down there, you'll be like, how this is process going to work? It did so when you get hands on, they show you the things that the robots do and then the things that we do and how it goes hand in hand.
Hand in hand is
Yes,
important as we talk about technology and robots, because a lot of people hear and they see robots and they go, oh my gosh, robots are going to take all the jobs. What am I going to do? But that's not the case
that's not the
there
case.
at
I feel
all.
like when if you have robots, even though with the technology now, when robots play a hand, they have their job, but you're still going to need humans to fulfill the other duties. So it's like it's so much they can do, and it's always going to be so much that we can do also that can make the workload a little lighter for us, for our humans body, because they can take more than what we can. I appreciate that on that much, so it can not be a strain on your body.
Yeah, and you mentioned hands-on opportunities here with the training. It's not just textbook, not just sitting in a classroom. Tell me
No.
more about this hands-on training.
Hands on, like for me, I wasn't sure how to work a torque gun. I didn't know anything about tools. When I say I was new to that, is new to that, and it just helped. I never heard of fastening or grommets or things like that. But the training center, when I say that hands on, you will need it for the plant. And it like as soon as you see, you're like, oh, I know how to do that. I know how to use a torque gun or the different screwdrivers that they have. I say the training was 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I love that they give you
Hmm.
the hands-on experience versus just showing you pictures and reading a book. You, of course, are new to this trainee program, just kind of getting your feet wet with this. What role are you hoping or looking forward to training for?
For right now, my training, I'm really general assembly, but I would like to be a group leader, training other meta pros to come in and do what as I'm doing now.
How has this program prepared you for those day-to-day responsibilities at the job? I mean, you talked about the hands-on training, but otherwise, I mean, how are they kind of boosting you up for that next step?
The trainers that I have now, they're great. The meta pros that I'm training with now, the hands-on, the teaching you how to, learn certain tools and development for you to even progress to the next level. They set the standard like from day one. And then as you follow along, like I say, week to week, it gets easier and easier.
Yeah, it really sounds like they
Mhm.
kind of create this golden brick road of just, hey, just follow it and you're going to get to the rainbow at the other side. And that is something that you can't find everywhere. So that's
Yeah.
crucial. And I mean, that's incredible opportunity for you. You talked about a few moments ago how you didn't really know much about tools, right? You could point out the normal hammer, maybe screwdriver there, but EV manufacturing uses technologies and processes, tons of big tools, as you said. How confident do you feel working with all this advanced equipment?
Before, I'll be honest, when I first started, I would say terrified because I haven't done it. But like I said, as the weeks goes on, I got more confident. And then the technology now is it lets you know if you messed up. If that's the good way to put it. So it's like if I screw it too tight, it'll beep and retry it again. So that's the one of the technologies or one of the good points about using the tools. Like you can, if you mess up, you can redo it again and it'll let you know that you messed up so you can retry it.
A few moments ago, you talked about how you were looking for something stable, and in your situation, you were looking for something stateside. You were working overseas, away from your family and friends. What has this opportunity meant to you personally, and even to your family?
Personally, for me, for my family, because I do be away from home a lot. Like I said, I was gone for the last 5 years on and off. But being at Hyundai, I feel like they got it right when it came to family values because this is the first Thanksgiving I was able to stay home with my family. This would be the first Christmas in 5 years that I was able to be home with my family. So I feel like that was like one of the get right points with me that sold me like they have that family core value at the job also.
That is something, again, these days it's hard to find with a company that kind of has that good, work family life balance. They have that family core value. We were talking with Brent earlier about how it's really important that it's all about the folks, the people, right? It's not in a
Right.
manufacturing business, it's in the people business. And that shines through even in their trainee program. So it's not just like you have to be hired to feel like a person versus a number. It starts literally from the first day there. How is this job, you think, going to influence your long-term career plans? Where do you see yourself going?
Management later on down the line. I feel that that's something that I want to work towards too. And I'm glad like you get the bottom up. So like I know how it started. So when it's other people, if I get in that position, I could say like, look, I started at the very bottom and work myself up and they could do the same also.
Yeah, that's incredible. Lead by example, as they say.
Yes, ma'am.
What excites you most about being a part of Hyundai's new workforce in Georgia?
The excitement is the opportunity. Like I know there's so many people that don't get that opportunity, and I just felt like I'm glad I was one of the numbers that got picked. Because I know it could have been other um, resumes out there that probably was better than mine, but they see something in me on my resume that they felt like I'm gonna take a gamble on her, to work at Hyundai.
You're leading me right to my next thought here. There's people listening to this that are saying, man, I want to apply. I want to be part of this team. It sounds so incredible. What would you say to someone who's thinking about applying for a job at the Hyundai MetaPlant, but maybe they're not sure if they have the right background, they don't have enough experience? What do you say to them?
I say go for it. Go for it. Whether you have automotive experience or not. I didn't have automotive experience, and the experience that I have now from before, I would say go for it. I want to don't let your right background scare you.
Hmm.
Like even if you don't have the background of automotive, I didn't. And like I say, don't let it scare you. Apply.
So, what about those that are saying, oh, I can do this whole manufacturing thing, but this new technology, they're talking about robots, AI. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm a fit for this. What would you say based on your experience?
The robots here and the technology, when I tell you it goes hand in hand, don't be scared. Like I said, even with the AI tools that help you. When I say if you mess up, it will beep and you know that you have to do it again. It will let you know if something too tight, so too loose. Like it's just here to guide you. So you want to put the guesswork in. Did I do it right? Was I sure did it happen? So yes, I'll tell you, don't be afraid of technology. Technology is good.
Simone, you're giving me all the great information. And really, I mean, it sounds like you're having an amazing time there. I can't wait to see really how far you go up that ladder, management being obviously one of your long-term goals there. Let's talk to the people here. I mean, what else would you say about your experience that you'd like our listeners to know?
From the Metal Pros that I met, the management of Hyundai, everyone was so welcoming. I think I never worked for a company where you see everyone smiling. Like, nobody's like, so far I didn't have no bad encounter. It just every time smiles, friendly. I'll tell you from the floor management, I'll tell you like it was like right now it's a great experience so far.
I can't wait to see what your journey there at Hyundai looks like.
Thank you.
Simone, thank you so much for joining us.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for listening to Talent Pipeline Georgia, a podcast brought to you by the Technical College System of Georgia. Visit us at tcsg.edu for more details. The Technical College System of Georgia. Meaningful careers start here.